And then of course you have your main volume, which is controlled here. So this will control all the faders, or if you want to think about it as all the subgroups, plus the channels that are not assigned to a subgroup. That will be controlled there. Now, how do you assign a channel to a subgroup? That's one question. So you see above each fader we have a mute button. As you can see, all these are muted. A solo button. The solo button is for if you have a headphone and you're listening to what's coming out of the board through the headphones, and you just want to isolate channel 1 or something, then you can turn it on solo, and you can do multiple solo channels just to listen to a certain group of performers or whatever. But there's also a select button, and that's going to be selecting this channel to manipulate all of these, I guess, your EQ, your compressor, gate, pan, which I'll talk about all of that in a minute. But select, you also see your subgroup assign. So you see that our kick drum, as well as snare, left floor tom, more toms, and then the cymbals. Those are all subgroup 1. So as I flip through all of these, they're all subgroup 1. Now once I go to bass, subgroup 2. And then all the band ones are subgroup 2. And once we go to vocals, that's subgroup 3. Speaking mic is subgroup 4. Utility, I believe, is assigned to subgroup 2 now. No, it's assigned to subgroup 3. Interesting. Okay. Probably should be assigned to subgroup 2, but that's okay. Now, make sure that your channels are assigned to only a subgroup and not a subgroup and main if you are trying to assign to a subgroup. The reason for that is, say that Zach is singing and he's assigned to subgroup 3. Now, I could bring down the vocal subgroup all the way, and if he was assigned to subgroup 3 and main, then cutting this subgroup would not cut his voice completely, because he is also assigned to main, which he, so unless, the only way I would be able to cut him out is if I brought this main fader all the way down. So it's generally a good idea only to assign a channel to one of these. Now, for the computer that comes in, it's not really assigned to a subgroup. It's just assigned to main, because it's not really part of any band or vocals or drums or speaking. It's just kind of another channel that we're using that's just playing what's coming in through the computer. So we're just going to assign that to main. And now, once you have your channels assigned to the subgroups, you can go through. You got to come over to your actual subgroups, and they have to be assigned to main. See, subgroup 1 assigned to main, sorry, main, and main. Now, if you have a subgroup that is not assigned to anything, it's basically going to be muting everything, because this subgroup is not assigned. So you've got all the sound coming through all the drums is going into this subgroup. Once it gets into this subgroup, it's like, well, which subgroup am I going to? Main's not lit up, so you're not going to be able to hear it. So we want to hit main. All of these subgroups are going to be assigned to main. And that's generally what's going to happen no matter what, because we don't really want to have one subgroup routed through another subgroup unless you've got some crazy setup. So in general, all these are going to be assigned to main. And if it's not, then you're not going to hear it. So that's something that you're going to have to check for if you are adjusting that.